evening and welcome to the Paranormal Lens podcast. I'm Chad Thomas, your co-host, along with Jamie Widener on that side.
Over here, this guy.
And we are with Jott-Nyx Paranormal. We're doing normal Tuesday night here with you, and I'm a little tired, Jamie. I'm still trying.
I wonder why.
Trying to catch up from this past weekend.
Yeah, we are coming on the heels of our Spook-tacular event, so I think everybody in the team's just a little, we're trying to recuperate and recharge these last couple of days. Saturday night was a blast, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting stuff happening. We'll get to a lot of that in a minute, but yeah, it was. I hear you and I feel you for every second of that. So yeah, but we got a show to do. So
we do, and we're here, and we have a very special guest tonight. On the show, we'll have with us Daryl Marston, who joined us on Saturday for the Spook-tacular event. It was great working with him. It's always fun to have him around. So, Jamie, you have anything you want to do to introduce him, or should we just go for it?
Well, I've said a lot of stuff and all good so far because I'm about to be face to face with him. But leading up to the Spook-tacular event, Daryl is obviously he's well known. So I think if you are at all familiar with the paranormal, you know him, you've seen him. His work speaks for itself. But beyond the professional side, the part that you don't see until you get someplace where he physically is how down to earth and real the guy is, and how genuinely unique he is. And that all of that leads to a really interesting and engaging experience anytime you're in a room with him. And it doesn't have to be a paranormal investigation. We had a talk through session before we did it, just a question and answer stuff, and always genuine, always real, always really cool to spend time with. So I could say that and then say, here's Daryl. How's that?
All right.
Hey,
Daryl. Guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. Hey, yeah. I'm never going to lie.
No.
I think that beard's too tough for me to fight. So I'm not messing with you.
It's all good, man. What an amazing Saturday. It was a long Saturday.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it went to almost 3:30 by the time we got out of there. At least myself. But wow, what an amazing event though. Sold out. A lot of amazing people there, and just good times, man. Great evidence, and everyone had a great time. I can't say enough. Jott-Nyx always kills it when it comes to these events, man. Every time, man. No matter where we're at, it could be at Bube's Brewery, it could be at Red Mill, wherever. Halderman, when we used to go to Halderman, it's always a blast and always a pleasure working with such great professionals like yourselves.
That's all too kind. The check is in the mail, I promise. Well, it in the case of this event, it's always interesting when we have multiple guests with us, and yourself, and next week we'll get to this at the end, but next week we'll have Ron and Lourdes with Staticom as well.
Nice.
There's so much energy then flying around, and we all get tied up or caught up in that experience. It just brings out so much positive energy. And the guests were a nice mix, I think, of experienced and non newbies, if you will, or and what else to call them, newbies. That's probably the nicest thing.
Yeah.
Novices. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. But even those who don't know much were willing to learn and engage. And everybody in every session I was at was just they were there in the moment, and nobody was sitting back like this thing this is a bunch of hook. It was all in right there.
Yeah,
and that's super cool to see too, because you don't know what you're going to get. And I'm not knocking anybody who's a skeptic, because I am, and I will give people credit for that all the time. But when you have that just good blend, it really brings forward opportunity for experiences to happen.
Well, not just the guests, but your team members are so engaged with the guest. Is something I really noticed. I mean, I was with Dave and I believe Sonny all night, and those guys are just so engaged with the actual guest, answering questions or asking questions and answering questions, and just moving it along and helping people with the equipment who've never worked with any of that equipment, explaining it to them. And then, just thoroughly doing an investigation. Because, I mean, literally we would have 45 minutes to an hour each location. So you don't have a whole lot of time. But they really got it across pretty quickly to the people. And like you said, it was a really good mix of everybody was there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always like investigating with David and Jamie because they're very much alike. They when they're
Hey, be
investigating,
careful with this.
you are. I mean, it's storytelling at the same time. You're asking questions and you're relaying information, but you're also asking questions and engaging not only the audience but the spirits that are there. And it's how I want to investigate, and I'm trying to learn from you and David. So I mean that as a compliment to both of you. So
All right, because you don't have a beard, I can fight you. So, all right, just remember that. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I learn by just doing. Like I think everybody does. And we all have role models, and Daryl, I'll say you're one of them. Because your presence and prominence, and the opportunity you had with ghost hunters to see you in the field before we ever met you. And the predecessors you had on that show, or as well for me, because that was my first touch point. There's a lot of stuff out there, though. And um, I think we can learn from everyone. And I say this stuff all the time. I mean, I say it because I genuinely mean it. The field is very large, and there's some place in it for everyone.
Mhm.
Regardless of what you want to do, whether you want to go out full bore and be out every weekend or every night, whatever, or you're a novice and you just want to touch, dip a toe every once in a while somewhere. And if you only ever want to watch a show, that's great. There's a lot to learn from just that alone. But to get your hands dirty, if you will, in the field, it's a truly uniquely different experience. And honestly, it's like once you do one, you kind of want to do two, and then two becomes 10, and next thing you know, it's years later and you're like, I don't know how many I've done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
obviously, yeah, absolutely. With that, I mean, you get to a point where you just don't like. I can't even count how. I mean, I know it's close to 1,000. I
wow.
just,
Yeah.
I just, yeah, it's just, I can't even keep track of them. And a lot of places I've done, 3, 4, 5 times. Like Boobs, I've been there,
Yep.
3, 4 times now. Halderman, I did a lot with you guys as well.
yep.
We did Red Mill. I've done Red Mill 7 or 8 times, but we did it the one time with you guys. So it's always like, but there's only a few groups out there that I really, thoroughly enjoy working with. And you guys are right there in the top, one or two of those groups that just, bring the A game every damn time. Not just with the investigating, but with dealing with the public, the prize giveaways, the little stuff that people don't think about.
Yeah.
Just little things like that make it such a special night for the person who's paying, 50, 60, $100, whatever it is, to come to an event, and to be a part of something so great and to learn from it. And one of the testaments to you guys, I can say, you guys have a lot of people who come to your events that want to work with you as investigators after the event, and they are always asking how can I do this, which I've noticed.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Well, every time you do this, right, and this as well as anybody, it's a teaching opportunity, right? If you're not taking the time to explain and engage and just cover the ground rules, the basics, not the ground rules, but the grounding of it all, you're never gonna you're just doing it. It's an action and it's emotion, you know. But the more you do to pull people into the experience that the creation of that entire experience, it's theirs, not just ours. And I think that's the difference in
Okay.
anything you do. Anytime you can bring people to it and kind of wrap them in it, they're going to be interested more to come back if it's what they like. And that's there's always the he that gets brought by the she, or the she gets brought by the he. Either way, and you might see the other one, but not the
Yeah,
other,
yeah,
the disinterested one. But
But it's always great when you can get the disinterested one
interested.
asking questions and getting involved, because it's like then you've done your job.
yeah.
And we have that happen quite a bit. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's always one or two at every one of these appearances or events that is always that guy or girl, and literally 9 times out of 10, they're always like at the end of the night, they're still on the fence, but they're leaning more toward, hey, this is something, or they're like totally on board with it. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to do this again. And I mean, just that's how I got started in this. I mean, it was happenstance. I just happened to be there. I got invited to an investigation. It just happened to be Fort Delaware, thank God. Uh, and that's where I saw the apparition that launched me into the path that I'm on now. And so it can happen to anybody, which is really cool. And when you see that, when people have that experience, it's just really cool to see, man, because it kind of changes your life. It doesn't matter if it's an EVP or they actually see something or they think they see something. It actually, it could be that could be life changing for some people. It really can, because we all have had loved ones who've passed.
Yep.
You're always wondering if they're around, and for them to have that experience where they actually see something or they hear something, um, it gives them the opportunity. Well, hey, if I can hear this spirit or whoever, maybe I can contact whoever I lost.
Right.
And I mean, I don't suggest people go do that, but it helps. It really does help people, I think, in a lot of.
It brings a sense of closure that they're still there, they're still around,
And something on the other side, right?
Yeah. And we'll actually cover a little bit of that more next week with Ron and Lourdes, because there was something that happened this past week that I'm hoping they're willing to talk about that did bring closure to somebody. So we'll see if they want to dive into that. But seeing that happen is very cool.
Ron Lourdes is next level. I'm trying so hard to get them out there more, to doing more stuff so people can see what they do. And that's why I've been putting them on my show a lot, because what they have, and I don't want to take away too much from what you guys are going to do next week, but what they have there is the future. I mean, this is the next step in the evolution of paranormal, what they're doing, and there's no hocus pocus behind it. There's no what I call garage tech. This is real deal. They put a lot into this, and every time I see them with their project, it gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that. And I'm with them. I've been with them a lot in the last 6 months. Like, I've had them on my show, my TV show, twice. They're coming back this weekend to film at my at our Halloween party. I worked with them in Gettysburg. I worked with them with you guys last weekend. And I love working with those guys.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to give anything away, because we had them on about a year ago. And we were actually on their program, EVPE, 3 or 4 weeks ago as well. So
cool.
We've talked them up. We've shared a lot of stuff already, and you're right though. It's funny you said that, because I was just thinking this weekend how we with them being, it was like November of last year, it's almost a full year ago. We had them on. We had a lot of their clips actually, and knowing that material and seeing what we've got out of their updates and upgrades this past weekend, how much it's changed just in 11 months or 12 months if you round up, is amazing. And obviously it came further from before then to get to that point last year. So, they are not just sitting on their laurels and just sitting back and resting and saying, hey, this is pretty neat. Okay.
That's one thing is, imagine where it's going to be in a year from now, 5 now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if they keep following this path they're on with it, and just fine tuning it and adding and subtracting stuff that works and doesn't work, where that system, the project going to be it's to me, I'm just happy, and I'm very honored to be their friend, and they're such great people. They're so down to earth. You can't help. The first time I met these guys 2 years ago, they came to one of my events in Jersey, and they set up their equipment. I didn't even know they were there. Some people were saying, "Hey, Ron and Lourdes want to talk to you," and I'm like, "Who's Ron and Lourdes?" And they said, "Okay, they have this project called Staticom." I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me check it out." And I'm like thinking, "Okay, it's going to be some spirit box session or something."
Right.
And I go up, man. They have all this stuff set up, and they start doing it in real time. And I'm like blown away by it. Then he starts showing me some of the clips Ron does of stuff they captured in the past, like Damnation and things like that. And I was like, no way. I'm like, there's no effing way, man. And ever since then, I've been like avid fans of theirs, and just like I want the best for them, man. I really do. I want them to blow up in this field.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing is, this is my first time seeing them. I missed Red Mill last year, Broken Foot, all that stuff, and So I haven't seen the actual setup, the equipment setup. And as I saw them Saturday evening, I saw the stuff go up, in the cart and the baskets, all that stuff. But the tabletop setup, I thought, oh, well, cool, we're having a DJ tonight. It's
Right.
really a couple of laptops, big speaker, monitor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, live entertainment.
Yeah.
But and it is live entertainment. That's the
It
best part of
is.
it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
why I love
it's
when they
DJ
do it.
from beyond, right?
I can sit there and let them. I mean, they make when I'm at an event with them, they make my damn job so easy. I'm just like, guys,
Yeah.
play that shit. And I'm just like, you can feed off of what they're doing, man. It's just like,
Yeah.
And the story building comes out of it, where the stuff that we've had happen. And like when I had them at the Manor a couple of times, and I had them there filming back in the summer, and we filmed a whole episode with them. And then a few weeks later, it was me, uh, um, Jeff and Trey Bader, who were on the show with me, and Ron and Lourdes and Dustin Perry. And we did a thing, a show. And Dustin was blown away by it. He's like, what the hell is this shit? He's like, really? Where's this been? And
Yeah.
these reactions from people, and it's if you for people who are watching right now, and if you're not watching, you see this later on, go check them out. If they're ever around, go see them live, because they are next level.
Well, and it's you're promoting them again. We'll do it next week, but they have the Paraflix mini series or 3-part series. It's worth just checking where they came from and how they got there, and they are following in some of the ITC greats. But that was part of my introduction last week. But they're following in what Bocce was doing and all those greats. It's just amazing.
So. Well, yeah, taking it to the next level. I mean, picking up where they left off and moving the needle to a whole different level. And then someday, hopefully, someone will pick it up from them and move it to the next level. That's what this field's all about, man. It's
exactly. That's how it's supposed to be for everything, right? We're always supposed to be. It's a continual improvement process. Like, okay, we got here. What can we do more? How else can it be? And if we're not doing that, then we're going to slide. We're going the wrong way. We always have to be working forward.
To
the next level, the next thing.
Yep.
I'm just happy to know them. I really am.
Yeah,
I love
happy
that.
And
the stuff
they
that they are, and the people they are too. On top of it,
I was going to say they are truly genuine people. They're not about being well known or anything like that. They are doing it because they like the research. They like what they're doing in the field. They're not doing it to make money. They're not doing it to become popular. They're doing it because
they passion.
Yep. So
it's pure passion for what they're doing. It's what it is, man. I can't. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and Frankie, we are going to have them next week, so we're going to hold that thought until then. But yes, thanks, and hopefully you're with us then too to remind me, because I'm old and I forget stuff. But and I don't have a pen. I always need a pen.
And we're going to get to the Ritz. We're definitely coming there, Frankie.
We're on our way. I'm in the car
Ritz
now.
Is great. I had a great time at the Ritz, man. I was there, I think it was 2 years ago, and it was a really good time. Great, beautiful location, very historic. It's got that vibe about it too. I mean, it's a big theater. It's got like a lot of other rooms, kind of off the theater, but it's got a really cool vibe about it. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you a question then, because I have a few here that, because, we kind of don't have a plan, right? So, but, you've been everywhere, literally all around. And is there a place that you've been, and I'll save minus House of Wills,
okay,
that made you go, whoa?
Yeah.
While you were there.
I always kind of put it in two categories: on TV, off TV. I think off TV would be Anderson Hotel in Kentucky. That was a wow moment there. It was a close second to House of Wills, but with whatever was there stayed there, which was good. Yeah, that's the place. That's the only place I've been physically harmed, like where something I actually got thrown across a room.
Wow. Okay.
And to this day, I can't explain where it bothered me so much. I actually went back 2 months later to try to recreate the whole situation, like step by step, just to have it happen again. And I couldn't get it to do it. But the thing was, there's been reports in there since before I was ever there of things like that happening, people being attacked, bit. The guy I was with, who was filming everything, he actually got bit on the back of his leg, and there's bite marks for 3 or 4 days on the back of his leg that looked like human teeth.
Let's say people bite or animal, right? Okay.
Yeah, looked like human teeth, and is freaking mind blowing. And they got so bad there for a while that I heard they shut it down. Like they didn't want people coming in there anymore. And then like I heard about a year or so ago they opened it back up to the public. So I don't know. I mean, it's been 10 years since I've been there. 9 years, something like that.
Okay.
On TV, I would say there's a couple for ghost hunters. Definitely the Halsingland Hotel in Alaska, in Haines,
I
Alaska.
thought you might say that.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience with capturing the full body apparition twice with the body cam. That was like some of the greatest evidence at that time that I've ever captured. And I've caught some really cool stuff since then, especially at the Manor. I like the stuff we're catching at the Manor is like we couldn't have got more blessed with that place. It's mind blowing. And I just don't know this because we're there all the time. We have cameras set up, and so we're actually capturing all this stuff.
Right.
But we're capturing full body apparitions. We're capturing doors opening, closing daily. But to go back to ghost hunters, and also would probably be Alaska. I'm not Alaska. Excuse me, Arizona. When we were out there filming, in Clifton, Arizona, where it got really hairy, not just paranormal wise, but with the human aspect of everything. Or we actually had our vehicle shot at that we were in, and they're probably some of the crazy. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but that's the ones that really stick out to me. They're always my go-tos when people ask me stuff. Yeah,
Sure. As a former Arizonian, I apologize for the way you were treated.
I love Arizona.
It's great.
Care.
Just don't go out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
I got 3 of my favorite states, and they're all out in that area. It'd be like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. I love that scenery. I just doesn't get for me.
I'll tell you something, and if you ever get a chance to do this, or maybe you have, let me say it first, and then if you have, you know what I mean. But when you're driving, if you drive, take Route 40, which kind of is the straight across, like from our area. We get down 81, you get into Tennessee around Knoxville, you pick up 40, and it's a straight shot the rest of the way, and it takes you across the panhandle of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And you pass Amarillo, which is the only real city up there. And funny, 2 things. One is you probably, like when you're heading south, to Florida, you start seeing the Stuckey's signs everywhere, or south of the border signs. Here you start seeing this place, and I forget what it's called, but it's this 72-ounce steak. And if you eat it in an hour, it's free. That's their advertising, right?
Well,
and it's been on one of the shows, like The Man versus Food or whatever. He did it, and nearly died from it.
I actually filmed up in the Panhandle of Texas, Pampa, Texas, which maybe an hour outside of Oklahoma, way up in the Panhandle.
Yep, up in the top part. I know where it is.
Yeah, and we filmed Ghost Hunters there. The Pampa Hospital. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I forgot about that one. Okay. Yeah. Well, the scenery, right? You're going along. It's grassland. It's greenish. And then the thing is, you start as you're heading west and toward New Mexico, you get maybe an hour outside of Amarillo, and all of a sudden, all you see is a line across the horizon. Mm-hmm. You don't know what it is. It's just like a line, and what the heck is that? And then you drive, and then like everything else out that way, everything's so wide open, it takes forever to get to it. You can see a silo, and an hour later, it's still coming.
Yeah.
So you finally get to it, and what it really is the line where the prairie ends and the desert starts.
Gotcha.
And the road literally downgrades like 45 degrees to the desert. And then you have like a cliff wall behind you as you've passed it, where literally above is prairie and grass. And then everything else is the Southwest, as we expect to see it, like the Roadrunner and Coyote Southwest.
Right.
So it's amazing to me. I will never not be awed by that sight and enjoy it as I approach it. And it's sad going the other way because,
you don't see it. Yeah.
I went to college in Albuquerque. I, lived in the Southwest a lot. So it's near and dear to me as well. It's just something about the scenery, about the people, the food, the atmosphere. It's just a beautiful place to be.
I remember flying into Oklahoma, and then we drove to Pampa because I can't forget the airport we flew into up in Oklahoma. But we drove into Texas, and we came across this big ranch that was on both sides of the highway, and it was longhorn steer for about 10 miles in each direction. It was, and I've never seen anything like it. Just driving down the middle of this highway, in the middle of nowhere as soon as you get into Texas, and longhorn steer for miles on both sides, where you couldn't see either side, just nothing but yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, welcome to Texas.
Well, coming back to Mount Joy, Todd and Carmela have a question here. They want to know if any of us had any experiences Saturday night during the event. Now, Jamie, I know you were up in the ballroom the whole night. Daryl, you were in the group with David, and I was in another group with Alex. But did you guys have any experiences?
Daryl?
Oh, yeah.
You're a guest. You should go first.
Yeah, I mean, most of the experiences that I had were up in the ballroom. I mean, don't get me wrong, the rest of that place is awesome and it's beautiful. I mean, I love going down in the catacombs and all that. It's just you're so just looking at everything when you're down there. It's so gorgeous. But yeah, up in the ballroom, we were getting a lot of a lot of type stuff happening, with equipment over in that far side of the room. And then Ron and Loris were running, Staticom, and they were getting some direct questions and answers and things of that nature from what were being asked at the time. And I can't remember everything was asked, but it was some stuff was pretty. It was pretty. To the point where what we were asking, it was answering right back on Staticom.
Yeah, it was in context to the line of questions. Absolutely.
Timing and relevance, as Ron and Lord always say, timing and relevance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's where I had the most activity, was up there. I think by the time we got down into the first floor there, I mean, it was like 2 a.m. Everyone was just wiped out, man. It's like you could have seen a room of 20 people who were just like nodding heads, man. It was just like it was getting rough there toward the end.
Yeah. Jamie, what about you? I mean, you were up, like I said, you were up there the whole time.
Yeah. Two things. Well, to the point of timing relevance, every session, all three had exactly that in every question and every call response was asked, and a deep session in the second window, I believe, but we may be able to share next week. I'll leave it to the discretion of Ron Lord as to or not, due to the guest that was relevant too. But the interesting thing, and this has only ever happened to me once before. We were at the Haldeman using a Phasma box in the not the preacher's quarters. Gosh, there I am back at the bar, up in the servants' quarters in the back of the building. We introduced ourselves like everybody always should, and then we said, "Can you name anybody in the room?" And clear as day out of the Phasma box came, "That's Jamie." Now, I don't have an unusual name, but I don't have a common name either.
No.
And it is literally my name. It's not James or anything else. So that was weird. I had the same experience through Staticom where my name came clearly through.
Yeah.
And and Daryl, you have a unique name as well. So Chad's not so much. Chad. Everybody knows a Chad, but I'm kidding. It's still unique too, because it's not the standard names.
It's not like Bob.
Anytime you hear your name, though, it makes you perk up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool. But the most interesting thing was I got touched.
And you did. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was standing by the column. The only person behind me was Alex, who was sitting on the round SETI thing, and I got poked square in the middle of my shoulders, like just someone went poop like that, and I immediately turned thinking Alex was trying to say something, and he's still sitting there, and there's no way he got up and got back down in any time. So I had no idea. It was, it's not the first time I've been touched either. So, like you kind of go, oh, okay. But it's very off-putting, when you don't expect it.
And the look on your face was definitely like you were surprised. So.
I had a look of WTF. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
How about you?
I had interesting things in actually all three of my sessions. Because I was with the session you just talked about in the ballroom. I was with you for that, so that was interesting. When we had nothing in the bar, but when we went over to the Peacock room, we definitely got some stuff over there. We were getting interaction with at least one or two spirits. Not sure who they were. I didn't feel like they were family. It almost felt like they were somebody who was along with a guest. Which you have to be careful when you're talking about that with guests, because you don't want to scare anybody. But that's the feeling that I got, so I didn't really bring it up because that group didn't feel like they would take well to that.
Correct.
But then Frankie also just made this comment last session. The Catacombs with Chad was wild. Going through the footage tonight, we had we had a shadow board, and I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, Jamie, but
A bit.
he had that, and that was going off. It was like it was a new toy for somebody to play with because we don't have that, and it was going off quite a bit, and it's a like a proximity motion sensor sort of thing. So they're it would go off, and again, timing and relevance to questions and things like that. We had tripwire hits down there. We had all sorts of stuff. Once we moved to the vat room, flashlights, just a lot of stuff. And
So consistent there.
yeah. So again, and even before we started, we heard giggling back in the hallway where the girls typically are upstairs. I'm going through some footage or I put a recorder up there for the entire night just to see what we picked up. I've got a couple different places where somebody has said hi or hello or things like that. So it's just, there's always stuff there. So
Yeah. Well, and I think, Daryl, your point, with My Haunted Manor, with having cameras running 24/7, when we go to a place, we're there for a few hours of a day, and I say this to guests all the time, like, it'd be great if somebody would walk out of the wall and introduce themselves, but 99% of the time we walk around in the dark and talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes something, equipment goes off, sure, and then the first thing we try to do is figure out why, and still try to stay in the moment of following the possibility that there is contact. But sometimes it is like someone's cell phone went off, and it caused an EMF spike, and there goes equipment, or a radio signal, like somebody checking time on the session,
Right.
and everything pops because of it. So there's a lot of reasons why things could be gone off. But when it does, that 1% of the time when it's truly legit, that's the drive, right? That's the pull that brings us back, and that's kind of like what we try to help explain at the beginning, but set the expectation. But the reality is sometimes there isn't much. But when you have a camera running or a recorder running the entire time,
Yeah.
that tenure of space between start to finish is much different than it does in a session where you're going to come to an area for a little while, move on because you've got a big space to, I think of like a Tala, where it's such a massive space. You can't stay in one space, one place there the whole time. You got to move, or else you're going to miss everything else. You won't see it all or do it all. So that's a challenge. And I like the idea that you guys are doing with recording 24/7, because you're finding this stuff's happening, and that's probably true other places as well. It's just not
Oh yeah.
documented because it doesn't exist that way.
Well, there's one thing I can say about the manor, and I see you got Amanda on there. Amanda, actually, she's one of our
Yep.
volunteers at the manor, and she can back me up on this. The manor, you don't have to do anything. It comes to you. It'll find you anywhere in that place, which is what I love about it. It's like we honestly don't even have to like sometimes do anything. We could just be sitting in a room having a conversation like we're having right now, and a door will open or a door will close, or you'll hear somebody walk across the room or walk across the ceiling above you. It's just constant, and it's always something different every time you're there, which and like I said, I think what it is now at this point is like we're there so much with all the cameras and everything, and the people we have coming in there, and the volunteers, and the people who work behind the scenes on the show. I think they're used to us. It's like a family. We're like
Right.
family now, and it's like they're just intermingling with us, like we're hey guys, what's up, morning, afternoon, whatever. Walk through the room. That's what I feel like it is there now. We're family, and it's so cool to watch people come in there. Like we just had so Saturday, right before I went to the event with you guys at Boobs, we had some people flying from the UK who they're fans of the show, and they've been wanting to get to the manor, and like them getting there. And as soon as they're walking in the door, we're there for 15, 20 minutes just doing like a walk around. They're hearing footsteps. We all heard it, like somebody walked down the staircase. And like we're all standing there, like, waiting for somebody to come around the corner. And just to see people having these same experiences. Like it's just like someone checking in, hey guys, how you doing? And walking away. It's so wild, man. It's like we've been very blessed with that location. And what it's offered to the public and to us for the show, and getting it out there where we got people coming from all over the world right now. From the UK, we got people flying in from California, Texas, to just come there and spend the night, which is insane. And to see the reactions and what they're getting and the evidence they're capturing as well.
That's cool.
Well, I'll tell you this as a Colombian and someone who's worked in the background of economic development and the support systems that Colombia has to draw people. We're incredibly excited that this is working to your favor, as expected. Dude, there's nothing you've done that hasn't been a home run. So I wouldn't expect less. But well, it's true, So it's that thing, though. Colombia is known for antiques and stuff like that. But now you're putting another map point down, to say here's a good reason to come in. Here's a good reason to stay.
Yeah,
right. And in a slightly different direction. There was an ad campaign for the city of Philadelphia a few years ago that said Philly's more fun when you sleep over.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and there's a reason for that. And it's simply because when you come in for the day trip, you're going to spend a good amount of your day there, but you're going to leave opportunity behind, like the hotel stay is revenue, the breakfast and things you'll do in the morning and on the way out of the city the next day. That's another capture point for opportunity.
Yep.
The borough has a lot of good stuff in it. If you spent some time, Hinkles, Brittles, all kinds of stuff up Locust Street, 3rd Street, whatnot, the market itself. So there's reasons for people to be there, in the river and the trail and all that stuff. But now
it's a growing little town. Like, I've been going there for 4 years now. My first time was, I went to the Samuel Miller Mansion back in 2020 when they had me out for an event, and just to watch how much it's grown in the last 4 years is just mind blowing to me. And the direction it's going in, like you have the Underground Railroad Museum that's coming to town that's being built. You have a major hotel that's going on right on the same block we are on the corner there.
Exactly.
We actually investigated it. Did you see? That was the last
I heard. Yeah, I heard. I didn't see the footage yet, but I was aware.
We were the only ones ever they invited in to investigate the location, and we'll be back.
I'm happy you survived.
Yeah.
Going in, I'll tell you a quick story. When the property was being considered as a to purchase, I think it was owned by the Economic Development Corporation of Lancaster County or something like that. And they were taking folks in for a tour, and the guy who is now the president, was vice president, went through the floor on one of the upper like second floor level, for the soft spots that it had, the structural issues. So I'm saying I'm glad you made it through. I'm really
they got it all. Since they're in there, they're doing some construction now, trying to get it all prepped up and shored up for the hotel. But they've marked off the spots that are bad and everything.
Yep. Oh, good.
But it was sketchy. Don't get me wrong, it's still sketchy. But
tread lightly. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a big project for those guys, but what it's going to bring to the town. And the cool thing about when my Haunted Manor came to town, we became members of the of MAC, which is their Chamber of Commerce. Yep. So we're on all that, and we've been so many people in that town have reached out to us to investigate their locations.
Yeah.
Just like the chip factory. So we went. We have a lot. We have tons of places that are going to be on season 2 and 3 where we're going to investigate in the town as well. It's just so cool to see the roots growing in all these different directions. Not just the manor, but it's going all these different directions in the town. So it's to the point where the whole town is the show now. Like, we're at Hinkles, we're here, we're there, and all these people are supporting it so much. And like, you're like a celebrity in this little town that's it's so cool. And for anybody who have never been to Columbia or doesn't know anything about Columbia, it's maybe 15 minutes outside of Lancaster. It's the coolest little town that I have been in years, and I love every bit of it. I love the people. The people are so supportive, and I can't say enough great things about Columbia. Really can't.
Well, actually, I want to in that spirit, pun intended. I want to tell you something that you don't know. So, when you're standing in front of the Miller Mansion, if you look to the right, the next building was now the Commonweal, which is a community bike shop. Yeah. As they were coming into existence in that location, and it's an established location with 2 sites in Lancaster City, but community bike shop. So obviously they want people to ride bikes. access to the trail. They run great programs for youth where they can earn a bike and learn how to ride it, maintenance it, and be a rider for life, as an elementary or high school kid.
Right.
But as they were going through the renovations, the executive director, who unfortunately now has left, but she's a dear friend of mine, and I helped them in a lot of ways through the years. So I said, by the way, we do paranormal stuff, and so we got to investigate that building.
Okay.
And we had it's an episode on last season. It's out there. You can see it, of course. But one of the things that we found really funny is we were in the basement, which it's conjoining to the Miller.
Yeah.
And there's even a window that you can actually see right into the print shop, which is really funny. It's got a board across it.
Oh, really?
But we were making contact, and we were through the course of conversation and just call and response, we got the feel that whom it was over here because there was too much going on over your side, that they wanted to get a break. They'd come over to our side just to get away. Now, I don't know if that was because of other spirits or other humans, either way, but I thought it was really funny. And I wanted to tell you this Saturday, we all got distracted in our directions, but so the carry is more than just your building. It's around, and you hit it really well. That the age of the community there it's 200 plus years, and it's 1750s or so for incorporation, longer than that for existence. So there's got to be stuff happening. And the downtown core where the building is the oldest part of the borough. Yeah. So that's the original stuff, those original structures still. So I'm not surprised that there's activity. It's really cool to see. And one last point, that those down the street, the 4 row homes that are in a row there, at the bottom of the block, the last one is where I grew up. Oh, so I walk by the building every day because we have no buses in that small town. So I had to walk by it every day to go to school, to the elementary building.
That's cool. That is really cool.
So that is my home block, by the way. Yeah. I'll leave it there.
I tell you what, man, that block has come a long way in just
it has. 5 years. It used to be a lot worse.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see that development and how it's grown, and all these little mom and pop shops popping up everywhere, and it's just great to see, and what's going on with that town, and it's an amazing location. The whole town is you got some great people behind the scenes who are from some of them are local, some of them are not, who are all part of it and want to be a part of it, and who are really supportive of everything we do there.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that's a small town. What it should be, It's very cool. Okay.
I want to throw this up, Jamie. We've talked about wanting to get to the Malt Baron Mansion multiple times.
I did, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. On the way out, everybody was out front talking. I walked over with Todd and Carmela to check it out, their room at least. And then as you guys were wrapping up, Ron and Lourdes were staying with them. They all came over. The plan originally was break out Staticom and do a quick session, but the 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., whatever it was well too late. But I'm glad they did this, actually, because their room is, oh my gosh. I mean, in Bube's Brewery, the 3rd floor is a hotel level. There are single room occupancy type spaces, and a communal kind of area for like bathrooms and stuff, but each room is themed into these independent ideas. The room that they were in was like super Art Deco, and then the kitchen looked like a 50s diner set up, and it was really cool because it was intentionally cool, like to look like that. It wasn't like it was just kind of left alone, to be old. It was renovated.
Yeah,
it really neat space. So I wish we could have done a session and maybe next time kind of thing or whatnot, but all we've ever done there is the basement, like access wise, because usually there are guests in the building, and the last thing you want in a hotel is people walking around going, "Hey, can anyone hear me?"
Yeah. Well, and I was missing in action. I stayed out and talked to Jerry and Missy for a little bit, which we talked about doing some Jott-Nyx investigations in Boobies itself, because we have pretty much a lot of the team is new. So we haven't gotten to do some of the other spaces and the Malt Baron Mansion. So we may be doing that coming up here in the near future. So I was out front talking, and then I was tired. I was beat. I'd had a long day, so I needed to go home.
Yeah, it was a long day for me too. I mean, I was up at the manor earlier that day. Right. I had to do the haunted candlelight locust tour. I've been those guys because Rowdy, one of the owners of the manor, actually is one of the actors, and his girlfriend Sarah runs it. And So I did the tour. That was like just over an hour, and literally got back to my car, jumped in, and drove straight to you guys. And I jumped in, had to park 3 blocks down because there was no parking. Walk all the way up, and as soon as I got in the building, it was like that's when I passed you on the street. I'm
Yep.
like, when does this thing start?
Yeah, exactly.
Melissa was
Where am
blowing me
I?
up. She was blowing me up in the car. I'm like, I'm trying to find a parking spot. I swear, I'm here. But yeah, it was
Yeah, that's an occupational hazard for us too. We come in on a Saturday evening. The place is long open. It's a popular spot. That's the best part of it. I will never argue that I can't find a spot because guests are here enjoying the place. So I would do the same thing. I park like 2 blocks away, and then by the time we do a session or two, by at least that point, the crowd thins out and the street opens up. So I go and move my car up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the worst case is I have to walk 2 blocks after at 2 in the morning. Oh well,
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a good neighborhood or anything. But
No, it's a beautiful place. But yeah, I that's what I did. Like I think we were in our second session. I ran down and grabbed the car and pulled it up right in front of we got a parking spot right in front of the front door. I was like, yeah.
So Daryl, what keeps you coming back to Boobies? What do you like about that place in particular?
I mean, not just the locations, you guys. I mean, you're working with you guys every time. I mean, I'll go wherever you guys go. I mean, you invite me, I'm going to be there because you guys do such a great job. But it's just beautiful. I mean, put aside the paranormal part of it, and all that. That place is it's like every time you go there, you see something different, like a new room or something you don't remember from the last time. It's so big. If you've never been there, you could probably get lost in there easily. It's like it's catacombs and this hallway and this corridor, and then you're on this floor. There's a restaurant here. There's a restaurant and a bar down here. It's just so cool, and it blows my mind, because you don't think of places like that. Like you see places like that on TV or in a movie. You don't actually get to visit places like that all the time, and it's in Mount Joy, PA, it's right there, guys. If it's not far. Yeah, it's great.
So, Amanda has a comment here. I'm going to say, Amanda, put a pin in this until next week.
Yes.
Ron and Lourdes are going to be on the show with us, so we will go through stuff with them next week. So, it's pretty exciting.
The quick answer is yes.
It's always yes with Staticom.
And Todd and Carmela said this
time. Speaking of Staticom, I took Ron and Lourdes, Todd and Carmela, and Frankie on a walkthrough before we got started. We had a little time, and I think I wore them out because of the size, and a stop everywhere along the way down. The bar, of course, the dining rooms, and then the art gallery level below that, and all the way down to the catacombs. And what was really funny is there was a couple sitting in the corner of the catacombs in the lower end by the barrel, like over top of the grate, that first 2-top table, and they were like they knew the routine of where they were because lots of folks had come through, talked about stuff. They had been there for a little while, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a grate here that goes down to another level, the Underground Railroad." And they knew it from just being there for a little while. That's how many people pass through, on this kind of tour thing. And it's hopefully it wasn't distractive.
Or were they,
having a good time, but
or were they there as a spirit?
No, I'm pretty sure they were. Well, now you say that, but and then we came back up, and then all of a sudden we're in the lobby, and then we were going to come through the art gallery, got locked out, and the vats, and back outside. And, it made more sense to go out than kind of try to get back through all of it. Yeah. But you're right. It is a massive facility, and that was only part of it. We didn't go up to the Cooper shed. We didn't go anywhere up on the 3rd floor to look at the the hotel level. I think they had a chance to go into the bottling works and out to the beer garden, which is another great space, beyond everything else, an outdoor space on top of all of it. Yeah. You got it going on there. You're absolutely right. And all of the activity that goes with it isn't just isolated to us. It's other places in the building, which is even cooler.
Yeah.
I think they had dinner in the beer garden. I could be wrong.
Okay. I think Todd and Carmela did. I'm not sure about Ron and Lourdes and Frankie. I'm not sure when they all came in, but yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like they're planning to come back, do a private at the at Boobies, and then tag team over to Haunted Manor.
There it is. That's a double dipper right there.
Oh yeah, I mean you're only 10 minutes away. Why not?
Absolutely. Yeah, we were kind of talking in advance of the the Spook-tacular event, like you're coming in for a Saturday event, come in on Friday and then do Jason's Woods and stuff like that too. I mean, this time of year, there's so much going on.
Yes.
Not thinking of manner, and I'm sorry, it didn't hit me right there, but it's a great idea. There's got to be a way we can bundle this kind of thing. We always want to bundle stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so close. Why not? It's not like it's an hour away. It's literally
Right.
12 minutes away
Right.
from each other. Why not? I mean, you go shoot down the back road there, and you're at Mount Joy, or you're over in Columbia. So and it's two great, amazing little towns there.
Yeah.
That you could do so much in, and it's got so much history. If that's what you're into, the history part of it, normal part of it, whatever. There's so much to do. Not just those locations, but the towns themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree completely. And there's accommodations in both areas, so you can land in one place and do it all, and then still see more on top of it with the other stuff that's in Lancaster County.
Yeah,
there's not a lack of anything.
Yeah, you travel, 15, 20 minutes past Columbia, you're in Lancaster. I mean, so you got all that too. So it's so much going on right there.
Sorry, this comment's not necessarily untrue. A little icy hot, you'll be fine. Don't worry. That's why I pulled my hammy on the walkthrough tour. Well, there's a lot of steps, first of all, so yeah, I can understand. And of course, you're welcome for showing you around. Again, I knew there were some spaces that you probably wouldn't see overall, like the art gallery level and all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, pleasure. It's always a pleasure to take folks through that place.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Like I said, I've been there 4 times, and I still think I've seen all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mount Joy is more fun when you stay over too. So
yeah, right.
Right. So is Columbia, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything we're promoting is more fun when you stay over.
Yeah.
The slogan, you got to steal it. I don't think it's trademarked. So, well, speaking of staying over, I have a question for you, and this is one that I always want to ask because I know what I would do, but if money and time were no object, where would you go to investigate? What's your spot? Where's the place you haven't been yet?
Probably like over like Romania, like Dracula's castle, someplace like that. I know some people have done it. I know quite a few people have done it, and it's just not very active. It's a very historical aspect of it is just mind blowing because it's so old. It's like when I was in the UK last year. Like some of the places I was at were 1,000 years old. These are buildings. Live in. I was at a castle that was 1,000 years old. I was in a Roman city I stayed in, Chester, which still had the Roman walls around it, where you can actually walk on them. Still had a Roman bathhouse there and a Roman Colosseum that was still there, parts of it. Like when you go over like that, over in Europe and places like that, you're running into some really cool stuff. History we've always read about,
Right.
growing up, and I think to actually go to you see where was it Vlad Tepes or whatever lived and and all that stuff happened would be really cool.
I think you just pitched Ghost Hunters International reboot.
I think they're actually there.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Have passport will travel.
Right.
So.
That's super cool. And you're right. There's stuff in Europe that is forever old. We think old buildings here are like, 100, 200 years old. And that's the add-on, the addition they did in the back, you don't even see from the street.
Well, the old King's Head where we film My Haunted Hotel, the other show that we're part of, it's 500 years old. That's like one of the newest buildings in Chester. It's so old. It's crazy because right across the street from it, diagonally across the street from it, is a Viking church that's still standing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all boarded up. You can't get in it or anything, but it's still standing there, a Viking church. Back 1,000 years.
It's sort of interesting when we talk about the Old West and how that is, but that's not that old.
No.
As you move east, things get older and older and older. But as soon as you cross the pond, you're back to like you said, thousands of years, and it's amazing. that history that's still there is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we have the history here, but for settlers and Europeans, it's only a couple hundred years old. I mean, you
Right.
got all the Native American history that was here thousands of years before we ever stepped on the soil. Um,
Hmm.
we just don't have the records of it like they do over there.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny to see those guys when they come over here. The people from the UK, who are like we have a big UK following.
Hmm.
That's where the show originated from, and when they come over here, they love it. It's like because it's something completely different and it's so big. It's everything is so big here compared to over there. You can travel from one part of England to the other part in 6 hours, um, but over here it take you 6 hours to get from here to upstate New York.
It's Cleveland, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big difference for them. But yeah, and the food too. They love the food over here. It's like it's crazy the portions and everything and how it tastes so different. But yeah, it's I think we got the history too. It's just we don't have the record of the history here like they do. Yeah,
Gotcha. And the buildings were not built the same, and like we don't have the solid structures. It was all,
yeah,
it's like that's what I like about history. It's
yeah.
different no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's crazy when I was over there too. It's like they're still making like over here we build everything out of wood. Over there, they're still built. They're like new construction buildings are stone. Like they're brick. They're like I'm running past new developments that are being built over there, and it's all block work. Like it's all the red brick block
Yep.
work. It's pretty wild seeing that because like over here, we've gotten away from that. Unless you buy a custom home, of course. It's like all the cookie cutter stuff over here is just like yeah.
Yeah.
I think the term is character, right? The structures have character because they're created
Yeah,
differently, uniquely different. The
yeah.
resources were different. Not as much timber. We utilized a lot of
Well,
forestry here.
we had a lot. We have a lot of timber here. We still do.
Yeah,
But yeah,
So well,
yeah,
that's cool. So
it is cool. So
Jamie, do you have more questions for Daryl? Because we promised Daryl we'd keep it to an hour.
I have one more. I have one more that I want to ask for sure, and I have one that might be fun. But
yeah.
so, as an investigator, what besides like a voice recorder, which is in everybody's pocket, what is your go-to piece of equipment you use everywhere you go?
I got two. Like when I'm doing like a serious investigation, where I'm like out filming or something, I love the body cam. It's just it's it's such a unique piece of equipment that's so simple. You clip it on. It's got a great it's great IR. The audio recordings on them I've caught some really great stuff on the audio on the IR cam or on the body cam. And the EDI. I love the EDI. It's a one-stop piece of equipment that's very well shielded, so phones and walkie-talkies and other devices can't set it off. And it's got everything on it. I mean, you've got pressure, you've got humidity, you've got temperature increase, decrease, you have a geophone, you have EMF, you have everything, and you can record it all and take it off, take the chip out, and throw it on a laptop or your desktop, and actually look at what you're capturing in real time. So it's just one of those, and they're so small. I mean, it's so you're not carrying all these big cases of stuff into a building. I can take a backpack and have everything I need in it.
Yeah.
Chad and I both have one, so I totally appreciate that.
Yeah,
And I'll be honest with you, I have it because of ghost hunters.
yeah,
I think Brandon was using it first,
yeah,
perhaps, and that's at least what I recall him and being incredibly ecstatic about it and what it's capable of. And I thought, well, I want that too, So
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, we,
Um,
we introduced it our season one. We introduced the EDIs, and we all got one, and they just caught fire, man. Like you couldn't even buy them at one point. They were like
yeah,
people buying them up, and then when COVID hit, of course, with all the computer chips and stuff, like they were like, I had a guy. I mean, you could buy one when they were new. What it was like $250, $300. I had a guy offer me a Jersey pair of Unity when I was there. I had it on my table. He offered me $1,000 for it. Yeah, and I said no because I knew how hard they were to get.
right.
Like, yeah, nah, dude, I appreciate it, but I'm not selling it, man. And I still think it's not that easy. I don't think they're that easy to get still.
Gotcha.
They've gotten better because I was able to get one. I really came into this after COVID, and that's when I got mine. It was one of the first pieces of equipment that I did get.
It's the best piece of equipment out there when it comes to the paranormal. It's not made in someone's garage somewhere. It's a solid piece of equipment. It really is.
So according to Antonio here, on back order now for 10 months, they're looking for 6 to 8 of them.
Yeah. Tony's got a bunch of he has a bunch of that type of equipment, but the EDIs, man, are just I can't say enough good things about it. That piece of equipment, like you don't need anything else. To be honest with you, except a camera and a recorder. To be honest with you, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a quick aside. You can have fun with it too. So you remember back in the Haldeman days when you and Mustafa Galatari came together. Mustafa and I were in the summer kitchen upstairs. It was summertime and a little warm up there. Always a little warm up there anyway. But
Yeah.
And Mustafa never stops talking. Right.
Yeah.
I know you know.
I know.
I know
spent
now.
a lot of time in a car with him driving.
We're working. He is talking about everything under the sun, from New Jersey to being a kid to this to that. And all of a sudden, he just stops and looks over at the EDI, and the temperature was 80.0. So he looked over and he says, "Oh, look, it says boo," and kept going. So
Yeah.
you can have fun with
I'll
them
tell you
too.
a quick story before I get off here. We were in Arizona filming, and God bless him. I love him, Mustafa.
Yep.
We were driving back and like our hotel, from the location to our hotel, was about an hour and 20 minutes. So we had to drive that every day back and forth for 15 days.
Oh,
Okay.
So we're traveling about 4 o'clock in the morning through the desert. Like there's nothing until you get to this little town where our hotel was from the location. And like I'm wiped out. So I'm in the passenger seat, he's driving, and he's talking to me. I remember 15, 20 minutes into the ride, at some point I fall asleep, and I wake up about 10 minutes before we got to the hotel, and he's still talking to me.
That seems about right.
I don't know if he never skipped a damn beat. And I never answered him or anything. I just remember waking up and I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah.
wow.
It never skipped a beat, man. That was the funniest shit.
It's par. It's par for the course with him, right?
No, he's a blast, man. He's a blast to go do anything with, man. I've spent a lot of time on the road with him, flying and driving and just hanging out in hotels and investigating. And I tell you what, some of the best times of my life, man. He's such a great guy.
That's super cool. Super cool.
So, all right.
Well,
we have another question, Jamie,
right? So let me say this, and John, I'm probably stepping on what you're going to say, but it is officially shameless plug time.
Oh,
right? You have to. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, guys. So anybody listening out there, this Saturday, October 26th at the Manor, big Halloween bash. Got a lot of people are going to be there. So there are tickets at the door where you can get in. $10 at the door. You can hang out until midnight, and then the VIP investigation starts from midnight until when you want to leave in the morning. We don't kick anybody out. And you can also go on the myhauntedmanor at gmail.com, or that's our email address, or myhauntedmanor.com, and book a stay. You can book a private stay where you get to spend the entire night with you and your friends, or just you. We've had people stay by themselves. And you get to spend the whole night. We have cots there where you can sleep in. There are cameras running all the time, so you will be a part of the show, of the show that's released. And guys, come on out. You'll love it. Or you can come out to one of our bigger events where you can get to hang out with myself, Jeff, and Trey, and investigate, and with all the great people from behind the scenes who work with us, from Interstate, and from Amanda. We got one of your people who work with us, Amanda.
Yep. We know.
Yeah.
You can have her. It's cool. There's enough. She's enough to go around.
She's great.
Fantastic investigator. Super high energy all the time.
She's
we love her.
Favorite in a lot of events. Just being able to show up at the last minute when we can't be there to let people in and stuff, and give them a tour and investigate with them. But so guys, come on out. You will not regret it. You will not regret My Haunted Manor USA or the My Haunted Project or anything they're doing in the UK. It's amazing stuff, groundbreaking, and you'll be able to watch it on mainstream TV here in the next couple months. So stay tuned, guys.
Excited to see it. Now, the one thing you did forget was this.
Oh, the horrors of the House of Wills. I've got one or two right here somewhere. Yeah, my book, The Horrors of the House of Wills. I almost forget about it sometimes. Yeah, guys, it was my investigation I did 10 years ago in Cleveland, Ohio, at a place called the House of Wills. And it's the one, and this is the way I kind of sum it up. It's the one location out of all the probably 1,000 locations I've been to over the last 20 years that almost made me quit during this period. A lot of bad stuff went down, and it was scary there for a minute, but I got through it, and I was able to put the book out, and just released last September of last year.
Yeah.
So it's been out for just over a year, and doing very well. And I'm always selling out it, so people must love it. And yeah, so guys, check that book out. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Barnes and Noble, bookstores everywhere.
It's available as an audiobook too, because I'm not great at reading, but I listen in the car all the time, and that's
yes. The audiobook cracks me up, man. It's like I'm listening to this guy who's supposed to be I've listened to it. I was like, he does a great job. Whoever the voice actor does a great job, man. Because everybody asks me, "Do you do the audio part of it yourself?" I'm like, "Nah, it wasn't me." No.
Well, I think I told you this the other night, and I did the same. With Ron has written several books as well.
Yeah,
but
Ron,
I read Horror of the House of Wills, and
Yeah.
your voice is in my head reading it.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
you instead, so not my own voice. And that was I got about halfway through, and I'm like, this is funny. Like I could not do it then.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just having a conversation with you, and you
Yeah.
write it that way. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
You're explaining this experience, and it's so genuine. And again, back to being you. It's so genuine that it's such an easy read. You're done before you know, and you're like, wow, that just happened.
That's crazy. Yeah, you say that because a lot of people say that to me. Like, man, I sat down and like I'm not a writer, guys. I wrote that book because I had so many people ask me to write about my experience there. And when COVID hit, I was sitting on my ass for how it was 6 months, 8 months. No one was doing anything. So one night I just started writing. And it was like therapy for me more than anything, just getting it all out and rehashing everything that happened. Because I can compartmentalize it and put it away. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I didn't want to deal with it. And when I started talking about it and writing about it, it started coming out, and it really helped me deal with everything that happened and kind of rehash it and get it out there to the public. And it was I hear a lot of people say that, man. They sit down and they read the book, and it's like some of these people aren't readers. They're like, I don't read, but they're like, I read your book in like 2 days or a day. I'm like, I read it in a day. When I had to proofread it before they released it, I read it in like I think it was maybe 8 or 9 hours, and that was me. But I wrote it, so it was a lot. It just flowed for me. But yeah.
It's a great read. I recommend it, and I think Chad does too. Regardless whether you read it or you listen to it, either way, go get it.
Yeah,
and get a chance. You get the chance. Get out to Columbia. Oh, hey. Now there's a thought.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How about a movie?
Hopefully, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it won't be on Lifetime. So
no. It'll be on Hallmark.
The Hallmark Channel is going edgy. They're gonna pick it up.
It'll be a Christmas movie.
But get a chance, get your hands on the Horror House of Wills by Mr. Daryl Marston, and get out to My Haunted Manor in Columbia, PA. You won't regret it. So, Daryl, we can't thank you enough for taking time
guys.
and the time over the weekend as well. And it's always a pleasure to see you wherever it is in the world.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to the next thing, and we'll be seeing you in our living rooms very soon.
Yeah,
of course too. So looking forward to
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for having me up at Boobs. I always love coming up there, and everything you guys do at Jott-Nyx. I mean, you guys watching, if you ever done an event with these guys at Jott-Nyx, or follow them or watch their podcast, you need to, because they are top freaking notch.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Daryl, if you can hang on a minute, we'll wrap up and then we'll come back. We'll chat with you off the air. So hang on.
Cool.
So Jamie, you want to go through our upcoming stuff real quick?
That's why I wore my glasses. I'm getting smarter at this. So upcoming for us on the schedule, next week we are going to, as we alluded to several times to this episode, we're going to have Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez from the Staticom Project, who were also with us Saturday evening with the Spook-tacular event we had at Bube's Brewery. They will be our special guests. I know from spending the evening with them the entire time that there was a lot of activity through Staticom. So, and it's all recorded. So hopefully we'll have, they've had some time. They're busy people.
Yeah, they said they were going to try, but we'll see.
Yeah. In the minimal sense, we'll get some raw material out of it, but they do such a great job of creating content where, it's got subtitles and everything. They just top notch. So next week, more to come. And coming up after that, the first week of November, Chad's going to tackle the Mount Washington Hotel. Behind that, I'm going to address or talk about Rose Mackenberg. The more I get into this episode as I'm planning it, the longer it's going to go. So, what a dynamic person. I'm really excited to share her story with all of y'all. Behind that is the Queen Mary, and then again, we like shapes and figures on Paranormal Lens. So we're going to do the Great Lakes Triangle. And then more to come slightly behind that, of course, as we get into December. We just haven't finalized that schedule yet. So, but there's a couple weeks ahead of us there. And dude, we're down to it, right? For our events at the brewery. We are coming up on the 16th of November and the 7th of December as our last two events for the year.
Still
next year,
tickets available.
Yeah, there's still some available at least for both events. And I say this all the time, but if you are not able to get to us, but somebody who is nearby, gift cards are available. For the events that we do, get them that and dinner, and then call it Christmas presents. So looking ahead a little bit, trying to, Uncle Jamie here, trying to save you some time on your shopping list. So
thanks, Uncle Jamie.
But there's more to come too for next year, of course, with our regular schedule once we get it all settled up with the folks there at the brewery. So more to come again. I remember sitting here last year, right, Chad, talking about, they're coming. And all of a sudden there they were. So it's going to be much like that, but we'll get them up as soon as we have them. And then how to find us. You found us either on Facebook or YouTube tonight. However, we also have TikTok, Instagram, and all of this is going to be available tomorrow on the streaming services like Spotify and Apple Podcast and iHeart. And there's a few more than
There's a few more, yeah. So hopefully video this week. We had some technical.
If you're streaming and just search, start
Paranormal Lens.
Paranormal. That's what we call this thing, right? Yeah. Just give us a search, and I'm sure we'll come up. If not, don't use that service ever again. It sucks.
So
I'm just kidding. Don't take that advice.
And I'm working on a couple other things, Jamie. So there may be more things on this list next week.
There's more to come. I love that, Chad. I really do. So. Again, if you find us elsewhere other than our live event, we are live. So please bear with us. But if you're out there on the streamers, give us a like, give us some stars, give us some feedback. We'd love that. We want to know how we're doing. We want to know, what you think of it, of the product we're putting out there every week. So, and we don't without your context coming back to us. We have a lot of folks joining us here in the event, which you don't see those comments. So, but otherwise, please just drop us a line. And if you want to email us and say, hey, instead, we're good for that. It's paranormallenspodcast@gmail.com. If you have a story to share, or a situation that you've been in, or anything in the stream of consciousness around the paranormal, feel free to drop us a line, and we will be happy to comment with you about it and maybe get it on the air. Certainly, we're not opposed to. We've done listener submission episodes already. And speaking of episodes, Chad, what is this, 76, 77 now?
Yeah,
we're getting there. So, we're never going to run out. So, but we can always add more. So feel free to drop us a line and let us know what you think, what you'd like to see. So,
So thank you for joining us and watching.
As always, thank you.
And we'll see you again next week.
Thank you to Daryl Marston.
Yes, thanks, Daryl. We appreciate it. So, all right, Jamie. Good night.
Good night.